Behind on taxes? Here's what the IRS can really do. Have you received an IRS letter and shoved it in a drawer? Are you behind on taxes and hoping the problem will somehow go away? Maybe you owe the IRS money and you're afraid to find out how much. If that's you, stay with me because today I'm going to explain what the IRS can actually do when the tax problems are ignored, what they can't do, and most importantly, what you can do before things get absolutely worse. My name is Shane Harris. I am an enrolled agent and tax resolution specialist with Profit First Taxes. And I help individuals and business owners resolve IRS problems and get back to good standing. Now let's get started. Why do people ignore the IRS? One thing I've learned over the years is that most people don't ignore the IRS because they're irresponsible. They ignore the IRS because they are afraid. They are scared of finding out how much they owe, being judged, not having enough money to pay, making the wrong decision, and talking to the IRS. So they do nothing. Unfortunately, doing nothing is often the most expensive choice. The IRS doesn't stop because you're overwhelmed. The letters continue. The penalties continue. The interest continues. And eventually, the IRS begin taking action. What happens first? Most IRS problems don't start with aggressive collection actions. They start with notices. The IRS generally sends multiple letters before taking enforcement action. These notices may tell you you have a balance due, you failed to file a return, there is discrepancies in your return. The IRS needs additional information. Most people think it's only one letter. Then another arrives, and then another. Each notice becomes more serious than the previous one. The IRS essentially gives opportunities to resolve the issues before they escalate to collections. Let's talk about penalties and interest continuing to grow. One of the biggest mistakes people make is focusing only on the original tax debt. Let's say you owe $10,000. Many people assume they owe $10,000 a few years later. That's usually not the case. The IRS can assess failure to file penalties, failure to pay penalties, and interest on both the tax and the penalties. Yikes. Over time, these amounts can significantly increase the total balance owed. I've seen situations where taxpayers were shocked by how much their balances grew simply because they waited too long to address it. The longer you wait, the fewer options that may be available and the larger the problem becomes. Now we get into federal tax liens. One tool available to the IRS is a federal tax lien. A lien is essentially the government's legal claim against your property because of unpaid tax debts. A lien can affect your real estate, your personal property, your business assets, and future assets acquired while the lien exists. Many people don't realize that the problem can impact more than just their bank accounts. A lien can create challenges when applying for financing or attempting certain financial transactions. This is why it's important to address the tax debt before reaching this stage. Bank levies and wage garnishments. This is where many people become concerned. The IRS has the authority to levy certain assets and garnish wages in appropriate circumstances. A wage garnishment means part of your paycheck may be sent directly to the IRS. I don't know about you. I like all of my money. I don't want any parts of my money going someplace else that I did not authorize. A bank levy can freeze funds in bank accounts. Now, here's the important part. The IRS generally doesn't wake up one morning and immediately garnish your wages. There's usually a process. There are notices, there are opportunities to respond, there are appeal rights in situations. In many situations, there are appeal rights. The problem is many taxpayers don't act until enforcement has already started. The best time to deal with the IRS problem is before collections become aggressive, and they can be aggressive. Can the IRS take my passport? That is a big question that I get often. There is something many people don't know. Certain serious delinquent tax debts may result in certifications that can impact passport privileges. For taxpayers who travel internationally or need a passport for business purposes, this can create significant complications. Again, this is not where most cases start. This typically occur after tax issues has been unresolved for an extended period of time. The good news, most people never hear. Now, let's talk about the part that rarely gets enough attention. The IRS also has programs designed to help taxpayers resolve their tax situation. Depending on the facts and circumstances, options may include installment agreements, penalty abatement, currently not collectible status, offering compromise, collections appeals, and resolution of unfiled returns. The key is understanding which option fits your specific situation. What works for one taxpayer may not work for another. It's not a one size fit all type of situation. You know what I mean? There is one, there is no one size fit all solution. That's why professional analysis is important before making decisions. What should you do right now? If you're behind on your taxes or receive IRS notices, here is what I recommend. First, stop ignoring the letters. Second, gather all your notices so that it is sitting in one place. Third, determine whether you're dealing with unfiled returns, whether it's a tax debt, collection notice, garnishment, or it could be multiple issues wrapped up into one. Fourth, seek professional guidance. If you are unsure what your next step should be, the sooner you understand your situation, the more options you typically have that's going to be available to you. And in closing, if you found this video helpful, make sure that you like and subscribe and turn on your notifications because every week I will be returning and sharing practical information about the IRS, tax debts, collections, and tax resolution strategies. And if you're currently dealing with IRS tax debts, garnishments, or have unfiled tax returns, schedule a consultation with Profit First Taxes. Remember, the IRS problem usually doesn't disappear by itself, but with the right strategy, there are often a path forward. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.